Cipp, we'll start with you. What are you currently doing now? What have you done when you left?
When I left Chaney?
Yeah.
Well, when I left Chaney, I started coaching the 7th and 8th grade program over here. Well, actually, we still had 4 teams. We still had 4 junior high schools throughout, and I went over and coached with Ron Angelo, who's a phys ed teacher over at Hayes. So I coached with him for a couple years over at Hayes. In fact, Mr. Bogart, Casey Bogart, who's the AD here now, he was coaching over at Volney. Mm-hmm. And so I coached against him for a couple years. And then I took over as the athletic director for all the junior high sports in Youngstown while I was coaching. And that's when we had, who was over here at the time? It was Protopapa, and then who was after John?
Vivo.
Oh, Vivo, yes.
Vivo.
Yeah.
Right.
So I did the 7th and 8th grade programs then, and tried to get schools to feed into here. But then just with the redistricting and rezoning of the school system of the board that we had at the time and the board members, they just started changing everything. Then we went to 2 teams. We had Northeast Junior High, which fed East Panthers, and we had Southwest Junior High, which practiced at Volney, where I coached, and then they fed Chaney High School. And that happened for quite a few years, and then in 2009, I believe, is when they stopped it here. Yeah, 2009, right? I think, Coach, we were saying?
Yeah.
2009 was when Chaney stopped having sports, and then they all had to go to East.
Yeah.
And then we became one junior high program that just fed East, so I was still doing that. And did that for quite a few years until they wanted to bring back Chaney, and they asked me to be the head coach, and I took over, and we were a JV team at the time. And we played a 10-game schedule, all JV, except for our last game. We played Crestview, which was their varsity team. We played them on a Friday night, so that was good for our kids to get introduced into that. And then stayed on staff for the next 3 years after that. And last year was my first year out. I wanted to get to that magic number. I wanted to get 30. So I got 30 years of coaching, and I've been out for, this would be my second season.
When did you start at Chaney?
89-90 was my first year here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I came over from Akron when I graduated. I coached freshman team at Talmadge, Akron
Okay.
Talmadge. Big baseball school. I always played Chaney, in fact. Popio knows that. Coach Popio. Yeah. And then came here, and I was teaching at West Elementary in the small gym. And Mr. Popio was in the big gym, and I told him I wanted to coach, and he said, go up to Chaney. He goes, go down, you'll pull in at lunch, you'll probably see a guy swinging a golf club down on the football field. And I pulled in the back there, and Ron was down there on the football field swinging a golf club, dropping balls and hitting. And I remember walking up to him and saying,
He really isn't ignoring you when he isn't like really looking at you.
Yeah,
and
that's
talking to him. He is listening.
I remember going back real quick right after, and I go, I think I told him I wanted to coach. I wasn't sure. I dropped a ball, and I said, I introduced myself.
15 minutes to get like 200 screens in.
I introduced myself. I told him I wanted to coach in that, and dropped another ball, hit another one. Still nothing yet. There was a little silence. Dropped another one, hit it.
I never got the finding fee, by the way,
He's
for
like-
coaches.
Oh.
We kind of dropped into West, and I sent them down.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Because I think the year before that was Coach Z. You were right before me, weren't you?
Well, you coach D tackles.
Yeah. Well, my first couple years I was freshman.
Okay. Well, you had some good D
Coach
tackle
Miller.
coaches like,
Yeah.
through recruiting, right? There you go.
Joey D and all them guys. Yeah. Yeah. So that was
Wow.
it's good times.
And then when
Best
did you
times.
99? So like you got a long run.
2000, I think, was that's what we were just talking. I think it was 99, 2000
Wow.
football year with. Yeah, it was a
You were
good
here
time.
for Brad's senior year.
Yes,
The 10
that was
the
Brad.
10
That was my
oh,
last year. Was
the
Brad's
10
senior
oh,
year?
the-
Yeah, so
lost
that would have
in
been
yeah, first
99, or he graduated in 2000
He graduated in 2001.
and won. So his football season was
2000.
Yeah, so that's when that's why I wanted to stay one more year. I wanted to stay for his senior year, and then that was it. But no, we see, and I see these guys all the time, and we talk about that. And I've been on a handful of other staffs, just like everybody down here, and that crew. We had a core. We had a coach come or go here and there a couple years, but that the core, other than Lamonji, who's not here, was basically this crew right here stayed together for all
Mick.
those years.
Mick.
And Mick, yeah, I'm sorry, Mikovic, yeah. Other than those two that aren't here right now, it was just those same crew that you knew each other, you knew how we operated, you knew. And I was like the last one to come in out of actually everybody with even without Mikovic and Lamonji being here, I was the last one. And actually, I was a Falcon also. So. But and like we were just talking with Casey Bogart a minute ago off the camera, and he said about being a Cowboy, and I said, well, yeah, when you think about it, I was a Falcon for 4 years, and I was a Cowboy for 30. So
Yeah.
kind of the tradition. I didn't realize how much came out of this school. You know, you go to your high school, you went to Ursuline, and you know the tradition there and that, but when you were here for that long and you talk to all these guys, and we would have, you know, Red Angelo here, and just the people that would come here during practice was just, you know, amazing. Who's general manager at the Bears? It was the other Angelo. Jerry. He would come. He would stop in. I mean, just the people that you had, it was unbelievable. But definitely times that I'll never forget. It was very hard when they ended up, you know, closing this as a football program, well, all sports program, when it became a STEM. It was very difficult.
Steve, when did you come on staff?
I believe it was 88, 89 season, around there. Started teaching, and actually did JV basketball here, and then Ron asked if I wanted to coach. Definitely jumped on the opportunity. Did freshman 1 year here, and then I believe it was Chuck Samron was going to medical school, and a position open on the varsity staff. So I took Chuck's position on the varsity staff and stayed here till 98. At that time, I got a teaching job up in Lakeview. And so 99 was my first season up in Lakeview. I stayed up there until about 2013, 2014. At that time, my son was coming up in the high school at Austintown Fitch, and I was just going to resign and you know, watch him play. And actually, it was at the Christmas get-together with the Chaney coaches that Coach Mick was there, who was on the Austintown staff at the time, and asked if I was interested. And then I've been at Austintown Fitch since. Last couple of years as a volunteer.
Okay.
Doing a position or anything, just showing up and helping out wherever I can. And I'm enjoying that part. But walking into this locker room, coming from Austintown Fitch, and the tradition that was there didn't compare to the tradition of football that was here. When you see the plaques on the wall here, and the meaning of the all-city kids, the kids that went on to college, the posters out in the lobby. I mean, it was being an outsider coming in. It was like walking into a Hall of Fame, you know, and just being a football junkie myself. I was captivated by, and still to this day, if I see those signs, pictures, it's still amazing. I was the only outsider on the staff. Everybody on the staff when I
Chaney
came
guys
aboard,
at that time?
Chaney guys. Yeah, it was all.
Well, that's what I wondered, with
all
both
down.
you being Fitch guys, that was
and there's
the biggest rivalry.
Yeah.
I wondered how
Right.
that.
Well, you know, it's funny because I was here, like you said, you're at Fitch for 4 years, you know, playing in that. And I have people that still think I graduated from Chaney because I coached there. I said,
Yeah,
no, I was an
I get that.
outsider.
I do.
They let me in for those couple of years there. And the only reason I left was because of the teaching opportunity. I was teaching in Youngstown and had an opportunity to go up to Lakeview and coach with Tom Pavlansky up there. And then Coach Anarella at Fitch. So if you look at the guys I've learned from, Coach Berdis, Coach Pavlansky, Coach Anarella, pretty impressive group.
Pretty good,
of men.
yeah.
And Coach T.J. Parker the last couple of years at Fitch, pretty impressive group of men that I was able to learn from. And 1 year that John Elliott with the untimely passing, Coach Anarella.
yeah.
Coach Elliott took over for 1 year and did a great job too. So been real proud of that. So in all my years, 3 schools, and really just a few head coaches that I worked with. So
That's a pretty good group.
yeah, it's a Hall of Fame group right
Yes, it
there.
is
If you
Hall of
ask
Fame
me,
group.
yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was coming in, you guys were. I think when you left, that's where I
Yeah,
stepped
you come in,
you know.
yeah.
So, but even coaching freshmen, just seeing you guys, how you got along, and you know how serious it was. It was, you know, you could tell like you were around some guys that knew what they were doing, and we've talked about it, like that peer pressure of, hey, here's the bar. you better step up and get there.
You want to ride? You want to come for the ride?
Yeah,
It's
right.
good to stay aboard.
Yeah, but the seriousness and support and friendship is everything.
Yeah, we had
I mean, we had a
fun,
lot
too.
of fun. You have to have fun. I mean, we spent
yeah.
the hours just talking off. The hours we spent, breaking down film and getting ready for opponents. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, if you didn't like each other, you couldn't do it. I mean, you had, it was. Listen, I love these guys. It's brotherhood. I mean, it's just something you could spend the time and you enjoyed every second of it, and it wasn't something that it wasn't a job. If it was a job, it was a bad job because you get paid for the hours you were here. It was just a love for the game, and
And like Dallas was just saying, like you just said too, about the friendship and about the bar being said hi.
Yeah.
Other schools around here would have a strength and conditioning coach. They would pay a certain coach, and other coaches wouldn't show. And that's one thing I noticed when I would come here. Every coach was here every day for the weight room,
Right.
whether you got paid or not.
You didn't get paid.
Every single coach on staff was here, and there wasn't a pay for that.
Right.
But you knew if you want to win and you want to compete and you're part of this staff, this family, I was there every day just like everybody else was. You just knew you did it.
Ron told me a couple weeks ago, we were talking on the podcast, Ron told me that was all voluntary. And I said, I never knew it was voluntary.
no.
Was
Yeah.
voluntarily.
I said 20 years later you told me I could skip a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
It was voluntary. It was.
Weight room, then study table after.
And study
Remember?
table
Yeah.
after.
The-
Yep.
The attitude that I think we shared, I'm sure that we shared, was that you wanted to be there. I mean, it was part of the deal as far as, I want to see the development of my kid, in my position.
Your position, yeah.
That, we put a lot of stock in our off season.
It was, for me, I enjoyed going hanging out with Mills, talking to Roy, seeing Mick there, being around you, and there's still friendships that I have for guys that I coached to this day. I think that are be molded because, you're seeing those guys 3 days a week in the off season, a couple hours. It's not just about you getting on them, but it's that connection. And then we'd stick around after and play ping pong or whatever we were doing. Try and beat Ron in ping pong. Still hasn't lost.
Well, the thing about it, too, is
Officially.
Never lost.
we don't see each other as much anymore. You have families and stuff like
Yeah.
that and obligations. But like when we do get together, it's just like you don't miss a beat. It's just
Yeah.
you just start, and that's because of what that was.
Yeah, even and we'd even in the summer we'd have gatherings with our kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a kickball.
Kickball games.
Kickball
Like
games.
Pope's house or Ron's house, yeah.
Wicked kickball. games.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's fun.
And the deck that I built or had built on the back of my house when I lived on Christine Lane, and Pope
Found a comfortable spot.
found
Made me stay up so long.
a nice spot on the
Fall
wall.
asleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just comfortable enough. I think that was it. Back to that going to the weight room thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Besides, I never, because nobody ever in the building, so I would stop down at lunch coming down from West. You never had Ron call you or ask, hey, I can't be there tonight. Can you run the weight? I can't recall that. So this guy was going to be there every day. So how do I go to him and say, I'm only going to come on Wednesdays, you know what I mean? Or you felt like you were letting him down, and it was just, this is what we needed to do. If he's there and he was able to get away and had to meet with somebody or something or take a call, then you always had enough manpower to make sure the kids were being properly supervised. But you just did it because you had to do it. That your key. You need to be there. You want your kids to be committed. You need to be committed. Unless there was something, another job, other coaching position, expected to be there. And nobody complained. Nobody asked why. Now guys say, well, why do I gotta be there every day, and am I getting paid? And that would be like the first two questions.
Well, and I think the other thing too was you had a job to do, right? So you had a station. You're doing bench or who's doing footwork.
Right.
So it
Need
wasn't
somebody
like
out in the hall. Need somebody in the cafeteria. Need somebody.
it wasn't like, hey, I'm just coming there and wasting
Walking around,
time.
yeah.
And,
No.
like there was a
We had
purpose.
stations set
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I just remember that weight room. We would test them and to get on that super strong 11
Yeah.
chart.
Oh, yeah.
That was huge for
Yeah.
these kids.
That was
The
big.
kids cared about
See,
that.
oh,
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, super
Get the
strong
shirt.
11. Get the
yeah.
shirt.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
All the linemen trying to get on there never
Yeah.
can make it.
It's tough for them.
The factor was too
Oh,
high. Yeah.
factor.
Yeah, it was.
Pope, so what do you're at Springfield now?
Yeah, kind of just kept my hand in it by doing that, getting back to Springfield after my path took a little detour. I had been at, Urson prior to coming back to Chaney, then 17 years at Chaney, and then went and my kids started playing at Boardman, coaching there. And it was about 15 years there also. Then it just didn't work out to stay aboard, and kind of wasn't really hunting, but was hunting around, and I wanted to go where I kind of, thought I'd fit in. I contacted Mills about some
Oh.
things, and
I'm glad he came.
so
I'm not the oldest anymore.
I'm the grandpa on staff. So I took that crown.
It's a great
But it
position.
was a good situation,
Yes.
for me, and it kind of backed off. I got to back off a little bit. I'm not coordinating. I'm just working with the position, and if they need any input, I'd give a little input and run some drills, and
That rejuvenates you a little bit, like just being able to step back, but
it just I had more time for home, which I needed, is what it did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could have brought the same energy with everything going on if I was in positions that I was in.
You still bring energy. There's no doubt about that.
Feeling my way around there, it's different. It's
different.
different, but its expectations are very similar, and so
It's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good group of guys.
So it's just nothing like the Friday night. It's hard to give that up. I still
Yeah.
enjoy that. And
one thing I wanted to ask you that we didn't talk about last time was, you went from Chaney here, being the defensive coordinator, being here forever, and spending so many years, and then the next year you're at Boardman on the opposite side. How did that feel? Obviously, your son's playing, so there's an element there. But how did that feel?
very weird.
Yeah.
Number one, I was going there and just coaching a position at that time. I didn't go over there and coordinate. I knew the kids, which made it easy, because my son had grown up, and those were all the kids that he played Little League with and was around them. So you were familiar with the kids.
Right.
But the staff was new to me. I really didn't have any ties or anything to anybody on the staff over there, besides the coaching fraternity. So it was hard to kind of make it, where do you fit in? And, when you weren't playing Chaney, it was getting ready for a game.
Yeah.
That was hard that week, It was probably harder the second year, when I was at the second year that I took over as a coordinator, going against them than just a position person. But it was hard being on that sideline and looking across and saying, I want this maroon team to win. You know what I mean? It was weird. But it passed. You just got
Right.
through it, whatever. It was early in the year, thank goodness. And when my son played, it was hard. It was hard for him because this
Same
is
calls.
really weird. This is really weird, he used to say,
Yeah.
seeing Coach Berdis over there.
Yeah,
and playing,
yeah.
And I was running around on his sideline. But like I mentioned last time, I hope that helped him be a better young man and a better player, because being around this tradition here,
Yeah.
And that's what I hoped when I went there and coached. I brought a little bit of that to Boardman. Ogilvy was very good, DJ, about picking my brain about how we ran things here, and how we did things. So that was good. And brought that super strong 11 to Boardman.
Did you?
Yeah. Finally got them to do that, and that was kind of neat. They liked that, and it gave the leaner guys a shot at getting on the board, and so on. But it was hard, but then it kind of changed. Ron got out, and then it wasn't the same
Right.
at that point.
Right.
But for those couple of years when after I had left, that he still coached, and that was difficult. That was hard.
Mills, so you started early on. Did you
started
start
in
right after you?
1991.
Okay.
91 I came aboard.
When you graduated?
I graduated in 87, so I
Okay.
played here. That was another great thing about here. I was from here, so I played here, graduated in 87. And then school, whatnot, a little bit of here and there. Talked to coach, and I came aboard in 91, coaching freshmen with Will Bagnola.
Yeah.
Back then. So this is Will and I did it for 2 years, I believe, and then I moved up, started coaching tight ends. Just tight ends, helping out with the outside linebackers a little bit. And then Mick left, I think he went to Florida, I think.
He did.
He did, and I took
Carolina,
over the
Florida.
receivers in the secondary, and I was
Okay.
there until I left. I think, 2004?
Mills has on the track, the agility is the greatest up back technique. You remember
Greatest
that?
up back, oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Ball,
up and
pass,
down.
ball.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my drill.
Yeah, you get after it,
I
man.
own that drill, man, exactly right.
Mills was also in charge of the balls.
I was.
Yeah, he was. That's
I
right.
was.
Every practice.
I was charged the ball, and on game night too. I got that responsibility.
Yeah,
I had it.
and there was many a times when he'd see a ball laying out on the field and would stop and be
Got to go get it.
gotta
Got to corral them in, right? Got to count them out. That's right.
You count.
10 kicking
we had them
balls.
numbered
12
and
throwing ball,
Hey,
kicking
we
balls.
had a budget
Kicking
around here.
balls
We had
and
to stay on.
Yeah, that's a
the
kicking
ball.
bag.
Yes,
Don't put 'em
that's
into the
right. That's
throwing
tight
bag.
budget.
we I mean think about it, we never had managers.
No, the
You know,
boys.
so we had to delegate kids
Yeah.
to do that. So I would delegate you guys to be responsible for certain,
So this position group had the 7-man
Yes.
sled, and
Yeah.
this position group
Yes.
had
and then,
the gauntlet, and the,
you know, you'd have kids
Big
do
buddy.
it, and-
Yeah,
and-
big
and-
buddy.
which was all good. I mean, it
600
worked
pounds.
out.
Except for the footballs. I took care of those.
Except for footballs, Mills took care of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember somebody lost their keys.
Oh.
Remember that?
I do.
We went there.
All the lights on.
We had
Was
to
it you?
bring cars down on
Homer.
the track or something.
Who did forget?
Might
I
have
do
been
remember
Bruce.
Was it Bruce that forgot last?
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
We had
but I
cars.
I
I do
remember
remember that. Yeah.
putting the lights on and combing.
Well, I remember the playoffs, late in the playoffs, parents at club put lights on the top
we didn't have
parking lot
lights.
for us before we go to Arco.
I remember climbing, going on the roof and moving the spotlight.
Yeah, I do remember, yeah.
so we
Going
could
through the
practice
trap
that.
door.
Try and get, yeah.
Extra
get
half
that
hour.
door. Get that extra half hour.
Yes. I
Yeah.
remember we went to South High School to practice.
Yeah.
We did, when it was
Under the light.
colder
It was so
than that.
cold.
Oh,
So
yes.
cold.
Was that the first playoff year, maybe?
And then,
Might have
it
been.
might have been, because then you put lights up on the top field.
We had lights on the
Yeah.
top field.
Yes.
Sylvester
We'd
Patton's
go to
dad
Arco.
had it.
We went to Arco.
Arco. We went to
Arco.
Arco a lot. Yeah.
Arco.
That was when we played
But
Akron.
then Gridiron Club put poles up
Yes.
and strung some lights there. And we even started a double one time at like 6 in the morning. It was still dark, poor neighbors.
Well, that-
I think I remember the kids looking, going like, oh, man,
The-
they're putting lights out there.
The reason we started doubles at 6 in the morning is you were going to try to avoid the heat.
Yeah.
But we still went till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We just started at
gained
6
2 hours.
We just had 2+ hours to our
That's
practice
it.
time. That was it.
That's
Yeah, it's got extra
Yeah.
time in the field.
We
yeah.
started
can't
Can't do
lose-
that now.
Can't lose the
You
day.
can't do that now.
Can't lose the
We
day.
had, yeah, we had to
We
get some
didn't.
things in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
Mills, so when did you leave? You left.
2004, I think, was my last year.
Okay.
We'd had a home on Kirk Road up here, Youngstown. We moved out to New Middletown. So I actually thought I was done. I did. I thought I was done coaching. You know, I had a son that was, getting ready to come into this world. And I coached 1 year at Salem junior high football. And then the head job opened up, and I applied and took it and got it. So I did that for 3 years, and it wasn't out of my system yet. So I went and coached at Springfield. And I thought, listen, situation started to change. My kids were going to go through that school system. And, we talked about all the hours we put in here. And, I remember all you guys having kids here, And if I was going to do this at that stage of my life, I had to do it somewhere. Number one, I thought highly of the program. Kind of talked to Sean Guerrero and talked to the staff. And, I was really appreciative they let me come aboard. But somewhere my kids are going to be part of. You know, I got to see my daughter go through as a cheerleader, and my son's currently a junior there now, and it's pretty cool to coach him, you know, and be part of his world in that regard. So if I'm going to do it, I'm doing it with them. And I've always said I've had 3 football lives, and each one's unique. You know, this is the one that, you know, it becomes special because not only was it my first one, but it's my alma mater. And they said the bonds that we continue to have, and the kids that I was around. I mean, geez, oh man, some of the players that come through these doors. I mean, you know, and the games we were part of. I mean, you know, and just all the experiences is just amazing. And each place has had its own. I mean, you know, I've been blessed to be in 3 state championship games. You know, like to win one, but you know, been part of 3, and you know, each place has had just unique experiences. So I've been blessed. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason how I was able to have this, but I'm so glad I was able to have it. So it's been a great run. It's been 31 years. So
Jeez, oh man.
yeah, it's been a great run. But this place is special, and it certainly is something that I'll never forget. And like I said, to be able to come in and see the place again after all these years, and you know, it's just amazing what keeps coming back and everything we talk about in the moments. And it's always about the moments. So I tell the kids now, and I'm still coaching here, it's like, you know, you remember wins, but it's moments you won't forget the moments. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not just the institution, but it's the relationships.
Yeah.
You know, that, like you said, you know, we don't see each other for a year, 2
Right.
years, or one. You know, we get together. You pick up and
Yeah, you pick up and go.
Well,
And
were you the first to get a head coaching job off of this, or was it Mick?
it was Mick.
Yeah,
With
Mick-
Jackson Mills.
At Jackson Mills. That was
Jackson
before
Mills,
you
yeah.
were here? Because I remember asking you, though, like at Salem, because I know what you were trying to, like, how is it? Well, it's never, you remember telling, I remember you saying,
Never the
"Don't-
same.
never,
Never the
you
same.
can never
I
get
mean,
it.
Yeah.
you know, for 3
Even
years.
if you think you got guys.
Right. For 3 years, you think you try to get coaches, and you know, and I appreciate the guys that work with me, but you just never had the same bond, and it just wasn't, you know, you couldn't do that. Just couldn't do that. And like I said, now I'm at Springfield. I've been here for a few years now, and the bond with those guys are pretty tight, and you know, they've been around for a long time, and it's fun. It is a really fun experience. I do appreciate all those guys as well, but it's, you know, it's hard to replicate what was here. It just is. So. And talking about, you know, we had one, and you probably don't even remember, my first year at Salem, we had a passing scrimmage here. I brought the kids down, we had a passing scrimmage here, and it was just bizarre. Because, you know, I'm over here trying to get these kids just, you know, we're going over stuff, and I'm looking over there, and I see you, and I see Mick, and I'm like, you know, it was a surreal moment. Yeah, first year we came over, yeah. And it was bizarre, it was strange, to say the least, so. Yeah.
you know, I know when I left, and I don't know how it was for you guys. It's kind of like it's a period in your life where it's kind of like you're leaving home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not leaving because you're unhappy. You're
No,
leaving because
no.
it's a different time, and when you come back,
Yeah.
you're almost a little jealous that you're still not there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, and I think that's a testament to what it was and what it meant. I really don't have too many others. The one thing I do have is like when you guys left, because it was such a competitive time, you know, making playoff runs, state title run. When you left, was there like other opportunities for you? Were other coaches like contacting you, trying to draw you away? Did that, you know, being part of this program, did it stick with you in a positive way? You know what I mean? And bring some of that to the table.
Well, when I left, like I said, I had no plans at that moment for doing anything. You know, I mean, I coached 8th grade football at Salem for 1 year, but I had a few different places contact me. I don't know how they knew I was done, but asked me about coaching. But just at that time, I wasn't planning on doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to do it. I mean, not, you know, for no reason. Just, you know, the family situation and the dynamic and all that stuff. That was a big reason. The moment was time to go.
Sure.
You know, we're moving out to New Middletown, and you know, my son was about to be born, and that was something just, it was a change of life at the moment. You know, and so at the time I was done for that moment.
Yeah.
So
I can honestly say I don't think anybody ever left because it kind of ran its course here,
No.
or
No.
it got,
Right.
you know, I didn't fit in anymore. Wasn't work. Everybody, something, just life came upon them that changed it.
Definitely.
One of the questions you was, if your situation never would have occurred, would you probably still just stayed coaching here?
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I
The
mean?
teaching
A teaching situation, opportunity arose that was better than what
Yes.
was here, but he wasn't looking to go.
Right.
I was
You know
teaching
what I mean?
elementary in the city, having like 2 or 3 schools I would go to, you know,
Traveling.
traveling.
Yeah.
And then there I had the opportunity to be in
Yeah.
high school.
Right.
You know, and if I don't have a son that's playing, I remember sitting with Ron, either I'm quitting, I'm not going to be coaching on a Friday night and he's playing on a Friday night somewhere
Right.
else. I
Right.
just will never get that time back, you know, or see if I can latch on over there, you know.
Yeah.
Circumstances, it wasn't what I was ready to do. But
Then when you went to Lakeview, how was that kind of?
That was a little bit of a change. That was Coach Pavlansky's first year. He was on staff, but in '99 he took over as head coach from Paul Kopko. And we were just talking a couple weeks ago about when you guys came up to practice.
And walked on the L.
Walk
Yeah,
on
they
that.
walk on that
Oh,
L
boy.
in the locker room, that's still there. And Coach Pav, he was interested in what we did here at Chaney. Not so much the X's and O's. Yeah, he was interested in that, but the culture. What made it Chaney football? And you could explain it, you know, you try to share the stories with them. And we made a decision to have Chaney come up for a doubles practice. And I lose track of the years, but I know what happened.
that was around
And,
Eddie Mack's time, Sully, that.
Yeah.
Sully,
that was Sully.
Keelan.
Sully,
Yeah.
Keelan.
Ironically,
Keelan,
Eddie
yeah.
Mack. We had some dudes with
Yeah,
Eddie Mack.
we had some dudes,
No
yeah,
doubt.
yeah. And just to show our kids the culture, and it still goes, even today, one of the guys that was on that Lakeview staff, Coach Ruane, is he still talks about the Chaney coaches and how they coached during that doubles practice, how they coached their guys. They got on them, he said, without screaming and yelling and losing their, you know, but he said it was productive in what they were doing and the intensity, the physicality, and that's what we were trying to install in our guys, you know.
That was a
something
pretty
different.
physical practice.
It was very physical.
Our inside run was pretty lively,
Yeah,
and
we had
even group
some-
pass was pretty
Yeah.
lively, 7-on-7.
That was like when you first started being able to practice together.
Right.
And it was an
Maybe the
actual
first
double
year.
session.
It was a double session.
Yeah, it was an all
That's what,
Yeah.
98?
Yeah.
That long past? What year was that?
That'd have been like 01, 02.
02, yeah.
01, 02?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say 01. That stuck in my
Yeah.
head.
Because Keelan would have been a senior, and I think he jumped off sides and you went nuts on him, like the first.
No, I remember the coaches at Chaney never screamed at all of
There
it.
goes something.
Didn't you just hear that?
Except it was productive. It was a productive.
I'm sure it was productive.
Yeah. It was good. Practice. He did that
Keelan.
for 2 years was it 2 years or just the 1 year?
It was 2 years.
It was 2 years,
It was 2 years.
and then
Yeah.
we put a stop to that. We put a stop to that.
It wasn't as productive as you wanted it to be for you guys.
We were banged up for till week 3 of the season, I think, but it was okay.
And that was like really a change for us.
Yeah.
You know, we beat each other up out here.
Right.
Yes.
It was never
Yes.
like,
No, that
let's
was.
It's good to have new blood.
let's thud and,
good,
you know.
It's good to have new
It
blood.
was.
Yeah, they were just kind
Definitely.
of excited to hit somebody
Right.
Yeah.
for a day.
Yeah.
You got to see that.
But back to like leaving, like that's really, I don't ever remember Ron saying, man, so-and-so caught me off guard. He's just going, or he's not
Yeah.
coming back next year. For the most part, of guys that were, you know, had their roots here a little bit,
Right,
or spent some
right.
time here. There were some in and out in a year guys that were here. You know. They didn't quite understand. It was kind of bizarre, like coming into this world as an outsider at the time, and you know, we would bust each other's chop regularly, and you kind of got yours busted as a new guy, and
Oh, yeah. You gotta have some
maybe
thick
you took,
skin.
yeah, maybe you took it a little too
No, you gotta have some
personally, you
thick
know.
skin. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it was, but
Did Paul leave before Coach Mick did from the staff? Did Paul go out to Nebraska before Mick left for Florida? You guys recall that?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, so he.
that was a stud one. Love,
Yeah.
Love took him away from here.
He was leaving To go to Nebraska,
Yeah.
all places,
Yeah.
yeah.
Paul was on staff in 97?
Was he?
I don't believe he was,
okay.
but I think he was on in 96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mick left in
Mick-
94,
Yes.
left
94
first,
season,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
I believe you're
All
right.
left.
Paul left 2 years after.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, the Niles, I remember,
Because you were mic'd up for that 21 WFMJ. That was the game.
The Niles game?
Yeah, and then
Oh, yeah?
that's week 10, and then
it wasn't mic'd up. I mean, Pat put a microphone on and the tape went to me. I mean, it wasn't for publication.
Good.
That's before
Niles game,
censors?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I would never agree to
No.
being mic'd up and,
It's out there for everybody.
Yeah.
That's not your. I hear it, Pat. We'll look at it and we'll see if we can use anything. We will.
well, it's on. I mean, it's part of the handful of films that he has that are on there. So yeah, that was. I mean, it's entertaining.
I'm sure it is.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Oh, were all you guys on staff for the state championship game?
Yes.
I believe so, yes. Yes.
And maybe we'll just wrap up with that. What was that experience like? At that time, only 4 teams made the playoffs.
Right.
Yes.
At that point in time,
yeah.
so very competitive. Division 2 or 3?
Three.
We were 3 at the time, right? Yeah.
Drop down.
We were
to
3,
that-
yeah.
Three
Yeah.
that year.
We were 2 in 91 and 92. Yeah. And then in 96, maybe we were 2 in 96 too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to
'cause
say
we-
the year
'cause we-
before.
Yeah.
Well, before you get to 97, think about the year before. Think about the 96 team, the 10-0 team.
10-0.
And
Yeah.
how, like, you know, you don't try to think that far ahead, but thinking about, like, wow, this team's stacked. This team's got a chance. You know what I mean? I'm getting married that year to my wife. I got married in November. You know, Steve's in my wedding. I'm thinking I'm going to lose coaches. I'm going to lose guys in my wedding because there's a chance we're going to be going to Columbus. You know what I mean? And you get knocked out in the first round. And then, 97, we have 2 losses, right?
Yeah.
We don't even win the city.
We were getting ready
We don't
to-
win city. Yeah,
We
we
don't win
lose
the
East.
city.
to wrap it up.
Yeah,
7
lose the
and 2.
East, and just thinking about how crushed we were with that. I mean, not being able to win the city championship, and then getting in and that magical run. I mean, geez, oh man, the Minerva game at Salem. I mean, I remember getting off that bus and that whole crowd
Oh,
was
man.
already there before pregame. I mean, winning that game and obviously the rematch at East.
They were number 1 in the state.
They were number 1 in the
Number
state.
one.
And we just
Yeah.
beat them up. I mean,
AP.
I still remember Antoine lowering his shoulder, and their quarterback was DN and knocking him out of the game. I mean, just
They weren't ready for what.
they weren't ready for what we
No,
wanted.
they
No.
didn't.
And then, like I said, the East rematch was
toughness.
just unbelievable, and the
The
Walsh
YSU.
Jesuit game. My gosh, I mean, what an amazing game that was.
Yeah.
Before you even get to Massillon,
Yeah.
Those, thinking back, those were 3 weather games too.
Oh, they were, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Minerva was weather, Walsh was weather, and
yeah.
East was
was
weather.
it was wet and rainy, and just before you even got to that game itself, the ride you took, the up and downs, and just never would imagine. And all with what, 38 kids?
Yeah.
38
Yeah.
kids lined up against, the South.
Yeah,
How many they have?
38
Oh my
seniors.
gosh, yeah. Yeah, I had 38
We
seniors
had
probably.
95 drives.
Yeah, and just giving them everything they could handle.
But never at one time during that did we, I think, look at each other and say, we're going to get our ass kicked.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No,
You know what I mean?
never.
Or like in
Yeah.
confines of our own meeting, like, oh my God, I don't know if we can.
No, even watching 10 game film.
Right,
know.
right.
Any one of them teams. Well, because you had a couple special kids that
Yeah.
Had some play.
But when you watch
that
that,
always could make a play, and it was a great equalizer for you.
when you watch those kids, our kids play just throughout that year, and just, they just stepped up and got it done. Got it done. Why wouldn't they not get it done
Yeah.
again? I mean, they just. They
Sometimes you just don't look like you can match up
Yeah.
with them, but never felt that way.
But they play with heart. I mean, they just got after it.
That was a good run. It was a fun
It was
run.
an unbelievable run. So,
Yeah.
A few things I remember from that game, not so much the game.
The championship
but,
game?
Yeah, the championship, but leading up to it, the practice on Thanksgiving Day, and all the ex-alumni and players coming back
Oh,
for that
yeah, I
practice.
remember that.
You know, coming in the locker room and it was lined.
All we talked about was like,
Yeah.
we got to practice. You want to be practicing on things. So every
Yeah.
team, you always wanted to have that day.
Oh, right.
That night coming back to Chaney, and it was dark. It seemed like it was the middle of the night, but it wasn't
I
that
know.
late.
Right.
And our bus actually had to stop a couple houses away because the fans were all lined up.
They couldn't get in.
We
That's
couldn't,
right.
we couldn't get the bus to the door.
Yeah.
They were all here. You
Gym
know.
was packed.
We lost the game,
Yeah.
but the atmosphere and the support we got from the community was unheard of. You know, it was awesome. I just remember those.
That's when they did, wasn't it WKBN? We packed the gymnasium, we did the morning
live
show.
remote.
The live,
Yeah.
I mean, we had, it was amazing, the neighborhoods. That's what we were talking about before when I was talking with you, Dallas, about the way Youngstown used to be set up with the districting, with the schools. You had neighborhood schools, so you had kids that grew up from kindergarten till they graduated high school that wanted to be a cowboy. You know, that tradition was there. You know, you had it on the other
West
side of
with
town.
me, like,
West.
and
Kirk,
older
your voting.
brothers that were playing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I
You
think-
knew they were coming here, and you could talk cowboy football.
Yeah.
I think that's the benefit of, you know, it's almost like now smaller schools are like that, right? You have
Oh, yeah.
generations of people that go through, they grew up there, they play there. Now it seems like, I bet you if you talked to back in the 70s and 80s, you had people at Rayan like that. You had people at East like that.
East,
You
same
had people at
thing.
South. Like that was just, now every school is a school of choice. You know, you're not only
Yes.
competing with the city, you're competing with this open enrollment school, you're competing with
What
Catholics.
the flavor of the month will be
Yeah,
this year.
except
Yep.
for Springfield, you guys are an open enrollment. So.
The best thing about that week
I don't know that yet.
was taking the kids on the bus up to West and
Yep.
and seeing them interact.
Just did adopt a
Yeah.
player
Better
program
part
at
of
the
the day.
elementary.
Yeah.
Spending time with those kids and those kids making pictures and doing, that was pretty special.
Kids would go to their classroom, spend time
Yeah.
with their class, and that was their adopt a player. And
Adopt
We
a
were doing
player,
that,
yeah.
they come down and read, and
correspondence,
yeah.
It was really a neat thing. And then they developed that bond, and you talk to kids about when you get to change what position you want to play. You know,
Right.
like I had them in gym in 6th grade, you know, and they were excited doing that. I remember I had Randy and Cam Smith at the New West. Like, where you going, Fitch?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
like, what do you mean? You know, and here's Cam going to Iowa State. I mean, them guys were
Right.
Youngstown City kids
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah, it is different.
But
That's a testament to doing it right. I mean, that's why you had all those people here, because
Yeah.
they knew that we cared about those, about those players, about their kids, and they knew that, and that's why they'd come here and support us like they did.
And we always did something for the community. Every year at Christmas, I remember taking,
yeah.
every time I drive by
Right.
that assisted living home over there in Cornersburg,
Camelot. Yeah.
every year we'd go there with the cheerleaders, the football team, and we'd go caroling from door to door to all those. You would see the same individuals in there every year. They would wait for you to come, and we made
Right.
cookies, and the
Yeah.
kids would sing, and I mean
But
that
you had those kids buy in and invest in the community. That was
Exactly.
That was big.
Yeah.
and that goes a long way.
Oh, it certainly does.
Well, that's pretty much what I have. I Casey Bogart and Coach Antrim have been very receptive and let us come in and use this.
Thank you.
And it's always good to get back together and see you guys and have the opportunity to kind of chop it up a little bit and walk down memory lane. Anybody have any final thoughts or?
I'm glad to come back and the year that Seth had with them and kind of got them back on the map. It
Yeah.
really made you kind of stick your chest out and feel good about the Cowboys are riding again.
Yeah.
And wish them the best of luck. And it's kind of neat coming back and seeing how much it changed. But,
Yeah. But how much it stayed the same, too.
But how much
right?
it really
Yeah.
stays the same. You can't
Right.
take the ghosts out of here. And,
Yeah.
It was just great
A lot of
to
good times.
have this forum. This podcast is a really neat forum. Have all these guys come on and talk. The former players like Rick Cabrilla talk, and Sylvester and Mark Heron and those guys, and everybody else you have planned for the future. It's good to hear just people talking about those days.
Yeah.
Like I said, and also wish Coach great luck, and he had a great season. So it's good to see him going again.
Good deal.
I'll just say, I didn't say too much. It was great to hear you guys reminisce and you know, the association that we had, I became a better coach, a better person, a better father, better husband, as a result of my relationships with all you guys. And I appreciate everything that you did. And like I've told you in the past, I consider all of you great friends and always Cowboys.
Cool. I just want to see that green chalkboard where